Pandora Peoples, and this is Healing Wisdom. We're speaking with Wellfletian Betsy Mellor. Betsy's father, Norman, helped start the Idyllwild School of Conservation and Natural Science in 1954, which had 130 students enrolled in the first summer session. He created it right alongside Max and Bee Crone, who founded the Idyllwild School of Music and the Arts. The school, also known as Isamata, began as a summer program geared towards children and adults. So Betsy attended the summer program until she went to college, and I attended the year-round program. Isamata was known for attracting phenomenal artists. Former director and conductor of the Cape Cod Symphony, Jung Ho Pak, was the former music director of the International Chamber Orchestra at Idyllwild Arts Academy. When the school started, Bella Lewitsky was an American modern dance choreographer and teacher who moved to Idyllwild in 1955 and became the founding chair of the dance department. She was also the founder of the dance program at Cal Arts, and she's known also for founding the Dance Theater in Los Angeles. Faculty at Idyllwild included Dr. Marshall Hawkins, who was a jazz bass and piano player. In the late 60s, he toured with the Miles Davis Quintet, and he had an amazing career touring internationally with saxophonist Richie Cole. In 1986, he founded the jazz program at Idyllwild Arts, and he served as the head of the jazz department until his retirement. He also co-founded the Jazz in the Pines Festival to raise scholarship money for young musicians to attend the program. Welcome, Betsy. Thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us about your relationship with the school.
I grew up in Southern California, and Isamata was probably founded while my father was still in the Korean War. But soon after, he was very involved. My family had always been going to Idyllwild, and we were there in our own house. My father, Norman Mellor, was creating a school of conservation and natural science, while Max and Bee Crone were creating the School of Music and the Arts, and they went together on that in the 50s. And so both my parents were at Isamata all day, every day, doing projects and teaching people things. My mother took art classes from Harry Steinberg, and I was always in the kids' classes. And my siblings, my three siblings and I were always in the classes according to our age groups. And those were my memories of Idyllwild as a young person.
Yeah, so tell us about what you can remember about that part of the school and his role in it. What was his background?
He was a medical doctor who grew up in Riverside and had gone to Idyllwild Boy Scout camp his whole life and began teaching natural science, natural history at the Boy Scout camp. I found his notes, and by the age of 16, he was in charge of teaching nature education at the Boy Scout camp in Idyllwild. And he actually, in later life, wrote the history of the Boy Scout, the Riverside Boy Scout camp history book.
I have memories of romping through the Boy Scout camp and just how beautiful it was with daffodils and ferns and ladybugs, such a pretty.
It was a wonderful place. And I remember when I was a teenager, he was writing letters and working to keep the water company from taking water out of Pine Cove and bottling it, because they got a contract to bottle the water in Pine Cove. It meant that the Boy Scout camp right below Pine Cove wouldn't get the water coming down the mountain. And the lake in the Boy Scout camp totally dried up. And I'm sure Isamata dried up more too. That the creek did not flow as much as it did when I was a child because Arrowhead Springs just took it.
Yeah, I had no idea that they did, but I remember people used to bottle the water even in the 90s. So, can you talk about your mom's role?
Well, we all had polio in 1953, and my mother's polio probably affected her more than it did us. And so she had been a very active climb Chocolate's Peak kind of person before that. And so one of the things she took up was painting, something more than where she could sit. And so for hours a day, she would be painting, both imaginary and in nature.
That's really cool. So you were there learning, your siblings were there learning, and your mom was also there.
Mm-hmm.
So your mother studied with Harry Steinberg.
Harry Steinberg was a New York artist, known for a whole school of abstract expressionism, color theory, and I remember his paintings. Mom originally painted with palette knives, and most of her life work is done by, collecting different colors on the knife, and then as she put it on the canvas, they would blend, and perhaps that was what Harry did. Very late in her life, she moved to brushes and did much bigger canvases later in her life.
So that became something that she became a lifelong passion of hers.
Oh, yes. I came home from school to the smell of oil paint in the house. Yes.
You were telling me that Max and Bee Crone, who were founders of Isomata, used to come to your house for dinner. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you guys grew up with a very artistic household, and that Max and Bee Crone, their passion was they wanted people to learn all of the arts.
Yes, I think we wanted to collect artists together, and not just in Isomata, but I think Idyllwild in general had a very attractive pull for many kinds of artists. And in the summertime, of course, coming up there, it was a ferment in the 50s and 60s. And like I said before, that some of these people were beatniks. I mean, some of these people were poets and folk singers and just writers, crazy performers. It was a performance every morning in the auditorium, and we called it Sing. And my younger sister remembers that you just felt better when you came out of Sing. You came out looking forward to the day.
So did they have like guitarist, folk singers leading your Sing every
morning? It was live music or live performance, yes. And really for children's brains, it's so good. It's so good. And the participatory part of group folk singing that we did in the 50s and 60s was a cultural phenomenon. I mean, they had it on TV with this little bouncing ball, so you'd keep along with the lyrics. Later in my teen years, I was in drama and I was in dance. So through the elementary age groups, you were in multi-arts and you did everything. Who would come and teach us special things, And I still have the clay things and the tile things that I made in my Isomata program when I was maybe in third grade. But I know our drama teacher in the junior theater, we did Midsummer Night's Dream, and we had costume experts come from Hollywood and help us make our own costumes. And we all made Elizabethan ruffs for ourselves. And we built our own stage. So I'm sure that Bernadette Fitzgerald, our teacher, who was probably an elderly woman at that time, she didn't do the carpentry with us. She brought in other people. who were especially skilled at that. And we built, props. We did it all. And I loved that. I think when I got to the dance program, it was primarily those dance teachers who were hired. Bella Lewinsky for modern dance and Valentina Umansky for ballet. She was from Salt Lake City. And Daniel Nygren from New York City for this pop kind of stuff we were doing. And there were choreography teachers. And some of the kids in high school were reaching professional levels. I mean, when they went back to LA, they had jobs as dancers. And not that I was ever going to be a professional dancer, but I took notes like I was going to be a dance teacher someday. And I was going to be able to teach the people what I was now learning. So it was a whole different level of learning.
Yeah, you were telling me that it was such a treat because you lived in a small town, you and your siblings, and you didn't get the kind of training that some of the kids who were coming from all over the country had. So then you were there with these highly trained kids who were really serious and really passionate about their art.
Yeah.
And then the great teachers.
They were already specializing. The opening up of our worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The opening up of our worlds to be able to push ourselves in our skills or interests. Like maybe I'm interested in dancing. I don't know. Maybe my older sister took pottery classes. She didn't know if she was an artist at all. Did she want to do anything? But Isamata was the kind of place that for a summer you could go take a class for 3 weeks. And we were almost always day students. But I know when I went away to an academic summer program, my younger sister was a day overnight student. And she said when she was there doing that, they had Phyllis and Ron Patterson, who were the creators of the Renaissance Fair, as instructors. So they were making costumes and becoming characters and acting out, being troops of entertainers for like Renaissance Fair kind of things. And how much fun that was.
So what did you learn from that experience of being surrounded by all these artists and being in nature?
I had a sense of my body. I had a sense of where I live inside of me that maybe some other elementary school age kids didn't have. That I think could have only come from the teachers and the experiences I had in the multi-arts program. So that the skills that you retain, who am I in relation to some challenging thing that's happening and how whatever it is. I had an opportunity to learn breath control and deep relaxation as a very young kid. And at that time in the 50s, it was called the relaxation response. And if you could, set your breath and set the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response would take over and eliminate anxiety and eliminate fear. And so in 5th grade, I had the opportunity to teach the class something. And what do I know how to teach the class? I don't know, Mom. What am I going to teach people? What am I going to teach the class? Well, I taught them the relaxation response. And when I was in my 70s, one of my classmates told me that she felt like I had saved her life because she knew how to deal with her anxiety because I had taught her that. For that to come full circle, for the people up at Idyllwild to teach us things that, yes, are entertaining and fun, great. But they're also life skills that are useful, that are becoming human. What is it to be a human? Becoming a better human. And I feel like arts are so valuable that way. And these people they did such a good job at it. It was so much fun. We were, too bad you have to grow up and go away and not be able to be a little kid at Isomata anymore.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your friend feeling that you'd saved her life and expressing that? Want to share that story a little more?
Why she had trouble?
Yeah.
Okay, she had been. We were in fourth grade together in school, and she walked into the living room and found her father dead on the living room floor from a heart attack. She was the person who found him, and her mother was a bad alcoholic, so there wasn't a person she could go to. So I think for her, she bore a lot of responsibility and anxiety, and to this day is a big worrier. But every other person in her family became alcoholic and drug addicted, and this one girl never picked up. And she says it's because I taught her skill. And I didn't know that my whole life. I didn't know that until later.
Wow. That is something.
Yeah, but you don't know the experiences of being at home in my own body, which also came from dance and also came from hiking and also came from being in the woods and also came from, horseback riding, my love of animals and things that didn't have to do with Isomata. But the ways of being in the world that Isomata gave me, I'm just so grateful for. I didn't mention my father was the one who built the pool because he wanted his kids to have a pool up at Idyllwild. He, of course, had to pretty much stay in the valley and work, being a doctor. But when we went up to the mountains, he wanted us to have a pool.
That is so neat. That's so neat that he wanted you to have a pool, but he obviously it was really he could have made a smaller pool.
He gave a pool. He gave a pool to everybody.
He gave a pool. He wanted you to have a pool, and he gave a pool to everybody because that's the kind of guy he.
Yeah, that's the kind of guy he was.
You had mentioned like that Bee and Max wanted people to not only be exposed to all the arts, but also to have a place where they could go that was different from their regular lives. And
way, yeah.
And I think that that's what makes summer things so special. But it doesn't. I mean, of course.
I think one of the things that Max and Bee did was to have the arts interact with each other. My older sister said that there was a American Indian arts emphasis in the 50s. And there was a whole building that was American Indian arts and instructors that came for that. And I didn't remember that, but she did. I haven't mentioned Laura Stern, who was one of the main people. She was a potter, and her studio, do you remember from the school where her studio was? And they had the best blackberry vanilla ice cream in the snack bar.
Oh, that sounds good.
After dance class, we would go over and get ice cream.
That's really lovely. I miss that era. And Meredith Wilson, who wrote Music Man, was actually there.
Yeah, we were there.
Like as an artist in residence. He was there making the Music Man.
I was a teenager, yes. But I go back, I drive through, I say, oh my goodness, this is so small. I thought it was bigger because of ours. I was littler. And all of those platforms out in the woods, all of the concrete platforms with the parachutes over them, or the slanted roof 1950s style thing over them, where classes were taught, outdoor classes in the summertime. But I'm sure a lot of what was there when I went there has just been torn down and taken away or reused.
And then, when you walk in the woods, you can find like heaps of old pottery and
I am haunted by a memory that our choreography teacher sent us out in the woods to find something and use it as inspiration for a choreographic language to bring back and show and teach, right? And I went out and fell asleep. Didn't bring back an idea.
Did you have dreams, or it was just the deepest?
I was just exhausted.
That's funny.
Teenagers get exhausted.
Yeah, it's a very magical place. Did you feel that there was a special spiritual energy when you were there?
Idyllwild does have special spiritual energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
My father was best friends with Catherine Sivasabo, who was the Puya chief of the tribe that had the Puya, the clan that had their headquarters down at Warner Ranch. And she had been in the hospital in I don't know, very bad auto accident or something. And so they began talking and they began relating. And she had him go out and pick a certain leaf in the out in the desert and bring it in so she could brew it for her tea for her lungs. I think it was just creosote.
Oh, interesting.
Which I know you're interested in.
Yeah. So he did it.
Yes, I did it with him.
That's so nice. So your dad was pretty open-minded to do that.
Yes, well, and he considered Catherine Sivasabo to be very special. She's the one who wrote down the Puya language.
Oh, beautiful.
She did the books of the stories and had them translated into English. The books are huge. They have Puya on one side and English on the other side.
That's wonderful. We've been speaking with Betsy Mellor about her experiences growing up, going to the Idyllwild Arts Academy summer program, beginning at its inception. Art is so important, and most people have creativity in some form, whether it's their innovative thinking or inventiveness or creative problem solving, their sense of design or fashion sense. The winter is ahead, and it's a great time for a lot of folks to put some of their creativity to good use.